Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to dig into something interesting.
Well, today we're taking a look at something pretty powerful, pretty fascinating. We're diving into the world of presidential pardons and commutations.
Yeah, the president's power to basically change someone's fate.
Exactly right. Like,
Okay.
it's a big deal. And we all probably have like a general idea of what a pardon is, right?
Yeah.
Wipes the slate clean, full forgiveness for a crime.
Right, crime's gone. Like it never even happened. But a commutation, that's different?
Yeah, with a commutation, you're reducing the sentence, but that conviction, it's still there, still in the books.
Like a permanent mark.
And you know what's crazy? President Biden, he's been making headlines because he's actually issued more commutations than any other president in history.
Seriously. I knew he had been using that power, but more than anyone.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We're actually looking at a CBS News article about this. It's called Biden Sets Presidential Pardons Commutations Record with Almost 2,500 More.
Whoa, almost 2,500. That's a lot of sentences reduced.
I know, right? Like each one of those is a person whose life is being changed, potentially for the better. It really makes you think.
Definitely. So much impact. It's important to think about the historical context, right? To understand the magnitude of what Biden's doing, we need to compare this to previous presidents. How often did they use this power?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did other presidents use pardons and commutations frequently, or was it more of a rare occurrence?
I mean, pardons and commutations have always been a tool in the presidential toolkit. It's part of the checks and balances system, right? But I think Biden's approach is really notable, especially in modern times. The sheer scale of these commutations, it's unlike anything we've seen before.
Makes you wonder, is this like a new trend we're seeing in how the executive branch views clemency? Or is it something unique to Biden?
Well, it's hard to say for sure, right? But it's certainly worth considering.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be about more than just numbers, right? Like we said, each commutation represents a real person, a life that's being changed. We have to remember the human element here.
Oh, absolutely. The human impact is huge. It's easy to get caught up in the political debate or the legal arguments, but at the end of the day, this is about people's lives.
Exactly. So what do you think is motivating Biden to take this kind of action? And what are the implications of using clemency on such a large scale?
Right, so let's try to untangle some of that. The CBS article, it highlights something interesting. It points out that a lot of these commutations involve nonviolent drug offenses. So that definitely suggests a potential focus on criminal justice reform, maybe even a rethinking of how we approach, drug-related crimes.
Yeah, like could this be a way for Biden to send a message about the need for sentencing reform or a more rehabilitative approach to justice?
I think it's definitely possible. The president doesn't just have power over individual cases. These actions can influence broader policies and public opinion. By focusing on these specific types of offenses, he might be trying to push for change, maybe even putting pressure on Congress to act.
Oh, that's interesting. Like he's highlighting an issue, right?
Mhm.
Trying to shift the national conversation.
Right, exactly. And I mean, he's definitely gotten people talking about it.
But, these actions always come with ripple effects, right? Both positive and negative. What are some of the potential implications of Biden's decisions that we need to think about?
Well, on the positive side, these commutations offer thousands of people a chance at a new beginning, a chance to reintegrate into society. The hope is that this can lead to lower recidivism rates, fewer people going back to prison, and that would ultimately strengthen communities.
That makes sense. Giving people a second chance can make a real difference.
Right. But of course, there are always potential downsides too. Some argue that widespread clemency, even for nonviolent crimes, could undermine the rule of law or even create a sense of unequal justice.
So it's that classic debate, mercy versus accountability. Tough questions. And, I can't help but wonder, how might Biden's actions influence future presidents? Could this set a precedent for how clemency is granted moving forward?
Yeah, that's a really thought-provoking question. It's fascinating to consider how Biden's approach could reshape our understanding of presidential power and its potential impact on the whole criminal justice system.
It's pretty huge. So we've covered a lot in this deep dive, and it seems like we're left with more questions than answers.
Well, that's often the case with complex issues, isn't it?
That's true. But hey, that's what makes these deep dives so interesting. So to recap, Biden's record-breaking use of commutations is certainly significant, but it also raises a ton of questions. What were his motivations? What are the intended and unintended consequences? And what will the long-term impact be, both for the individuals affected and for the justice system as a whole?
Absolutely. It forces us to confront some fundamental questions. What does a truly just and equitable society look like? And what role should presidential clemency play in achieving that vision?
Big questions, for
Hmm.
sure, and ones that we all need to be thinking about as we follow the debate surrounding criminal justice reform.
Definitely. These are discussions that are going to continue.
And remember, this deep dive is just a starting point. We encourage everyone to keep learning, keep exploring this complex issue.
Yeah, there's always more to learn, more perspectives to consider.
All right, that's it for our deep dive today. Thanks for joining us.
And thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.
Keep diving deep.